This is where the fun begins.
Clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose.
King Kong ain't got shit on me!
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the
Everybody
procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Say my name.
And here we go.
What's going on, guys? We're back. We're back. Welcome to another episode of Realish. I'm Derrick.
And I'm Matt.
Yes, good to see you again, bro.
Yeah. You too, bro. It's been what, 4 weeks? 4 weeks?
Around
there,
bro.
Probably longer.
We've had seasons actually start and end since the last time we recorded. So
yeah, it's been a minute, bro.
Yeah.
Glad to be back. How you been, bro?
Man, everything is good, man. Everything is good. Everything is good. How you been?
No, I've been good too. I've been good. I can't complain. So
Yes, sir. Well, this get some of the little workshop stuff out the way. If you guys are watching this channel, so please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you have not done so already, please subscribe on all podcast platforms. Give us a rating. Let us know what you guys think. Let us know whatever you want us to review. We are in this transition phase for the show, so you're going to be seeing some things differently, whether that's from us or just on the platform of OTS in general. You're going to be seeing different things in a couple of weeks, in the coming weeks. My bad. So just be on the lookout for that. We might be doing a giveaway real soon as well, just to help with promotions and with getting some eyes on us. So we'll be announcing a lot of those things pretty soon on what we're going to do. Matt and I got to get together and discuss what it is we want to actually do for the giveaway. But if you guys have any suggestions as well, let us know what those things would be, and within reason. We're not passing out $1,000 checks. We're not doing those stimmies. But we'll do something real nice for you guys, just to say thank you for watching and listening and sticking with us through all these many transitions that you have witnessed over the last 2 years. But yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and kick things off. As you see, this episode is our feature presentation. We're doing House of the Dragon, which I am excited to discuss, especially with Matt, because he and I have been discussing Game of Thrones over the last couple of months. So I'm excited to kick this thing off. But go ahead and take things away, Matt, with a little bit of news.
yeah, for sure. So going back to our beloved DC, something that we're huge fans over here on the Realist podcast. So what just happened? To kick it all off, Henry Cavill's back as Superman. As seen in the Black Adam post-credit scene, and of course, a message he left for his fans on his Instagram. He cited that it's official and that there's more to come with his appearance as a character. So I just sort of wanted to get your take on, is his return something you wanted? Maybe an obvious question. And a second to that, do you think that this is sort of the right move by DC? Do you think this is a move that they are really just doing for the sake of money, and they really don't have like a sketched out plan? Or do you think now, since there's been so many changes in leadership, that they do have a concrete plan, courtesy of The Rock, and maybe we'll actually get something good, if that's even a word you can use to describe DC?
Yeah. So I'm happy Henry Cavill is back. I at least for this iteration of the DCEU, right? Like, it didn't make sense to me to bring someone else in. As much as I want to see a Black Superman, it did make sense in this iteration, right? It's either you scrap the entire thing or you bring certain guys back, and it made sense. It just makes sense to bring him back, and it's long overdue. Man of Steel Man of Steel came out like in what 2013 or something like that.
Yeah.
We're
So
almost at the 10-year mark to get a sequel. I think we're overdue for that.
long overdue.
Long overdue. So, and honestly, I kind of looked at Batman versus Superman as the unofficial sequel to the movie anyway. But yeah, I'm excited he's back. I The only thing I hate is that Black Adam was kind of ruined for me because I didn't get to go see it this weekend. Like now I know what the post credits scene is, and hey, whatever. I'll still go see the movie, but yeah, thanks to you guys ruining that on Twitter. Great job.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I mean, is DC going to be something we can actually trust? No, not in the immediate future. Like you got to earn that trust back. So the way they can do that is by putting out quality content. And I mean, great having James Gunn, being one of the guys that they're going to utilize to write and direct. Thank God. So I'm expecting that things are going to get better, but I can't trust them yet. I can't trust them yet. This is like being in an abusive relationship, right? Like you got to know that they've gone to therapy. They've actually changed their ways. You know what I'm saying? Like I got to see it. I got to see it, right? It's going to take a
Yeah.
long time for that trust to be there. But this is obviously the right move. So I don't like now. It's like what happens with Flash, right? Like I know Ezra Miller is back to continue with shooting or whatever he's doing. So
Yeah.
so I'm I don't know. I'm confused, right? Like there's certain things
Yeah.
you see that are good, but there's certain things you just don't know, like how you fully explain that. So I'm just assuming that we're gonna get that Flashpoint story, and maybe that.
So rearranging some things. It's
Yeah, I don't know, because like, what happens with Robert Pattinson's Batman? Like, is that now officially in this universe, or what are we doing? That's my question.
yeah, and I think for casual audiences, right,
Mhm.
who at this point are aware of these cinematic universes, it would be awfully confusing for you to have. Well, we are at some point going to have three concurrent Batmans, but Michael
Yes,
Keaton is officially off the board.
yes,
So now we're just gonna have Ben Affleck and Robert Pattinson. So I think we reach a point where Warner Bros. Understand. Well, hopefully Warner Bros. Understands what the audiences want. Audiences want. I
yeah,
think they're gonna keep Matt Reeves' universe separate. Have it be this ultra realistic universe where they can really center on characters like the Joker. There are even a lot of rumors coming about of Matt Reeves developing projects on Professor Pig, Scarecrow,
hmm hmm
Clayface,
hmm
who is actually a very interesting
that one will be very
choice,
interesting.
but
Yeah,
that I think he's fairly goofy just in terms of like
hmm
how you present him,
yeah,
but you complement good writing, then you make magic happen, right?
yeah,
And with all that being said, too, The Rock is responsible for this, right? I mean, he said to the executives, "Listen, we're not doing this movie unless you bring back Henry Cavill."
yeah, yeah.
And was it a marketing ploy? Absolutely.
Most
I'm
definitely.
gonna be totally honest with you. If Superman was not in this movie, if Superman was not even alluded to being in this movie, nobody would have been that interested in watching it. I
Right.
think people were gonna show up because The Rock has obviously a huge following, and he has a very likable presence on screen. But
Mhm.
um, I think you know it's a it's a good time to be a DC fan. I
Yeah.
think. I mean, right? Like, I don't mean to be overly pessimistic, but
Yeah.
it's just they have such a poor track record to this point, and it's like
hmm
they kept going backwards. They've lost so much money, and it's just
Yeah.
I feel like this is really like one of their last ditch effort to really cling to their few
hmm
remaining fans,
hmm
and if not for Black Adam, I think the DC universe will be even more in shambles.
Well, yeah. I mean, we still have Shazam. We still have Aquaman 2 to come out.
And the
Like
Flash, and it's confusing too.
Flash.
It's a lot of
Yeah. I like. I just like. and I love what Matt Reeves is going to be doing. But at the same time, I prefer everything to be together. Like I don't want two different universes. I want one cinematic universe with multiple stories, just like the MCU. If it's going to take them 12, this is what 12 years since the MCU even it like relaunched with Iron Man, right? So it's already been that long. You're taking this long to even get to the point where you're saying, okay, yeah, maybe we should do that. You know, I don't think it's like I think Marvel could do something like that where they're running two concurrent universes, and I think it would make more sense for them to do something like that because they have the structure in place. DC, we've got it. We just have to wait and see because I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. I want to see what Matt Reeves is going to do,
Yeah.
but as much as I love Ben Affleck's Batman, I think his Batman and Bruce Wayne, that's the best Batman Bruce Wayne combo we've ever had. That's the best Batman portrayal to me. But just go ahead and mesh the two universes, right? Like let whatever Ben Affleck is doing right now, let him do that, finish it out, and then just kind of restructure everything to where
Yeah.
we're now in
I've
the same universe.
So honestly, I'm fine with them doing separate universes because it allows for more experimentation, right?
It does.
You can't do Joker 2 in a universe where Aquaman is
Oh my god,
is talking to fish,
bro! I forgot all
and
about
yeah,
Joker too.
yeah, you know what I mean. Where Aquaman is talking. Well, that's actually a really poor argument. That's actually probably one of the worst arguments I ever had because obviously like you can have different ratings and
Yeah,
everything, but um but it is actually kind of funny to think about. You have so much graphic violence in one end of the universe, and then you just have
yeah,
a kid in a adult body just throwing out lightning and cracking jokes. But yeah, no, I mean, I think what they're doing is fine.
yeah.
Um, I could care less about their DC extended universe with Henry Cavill until we get a sequel with him.
Mm,
You give Christopher McGuire, the director for Mission Impossible, that movie,
mm-hmm.
his producing team, I will I will listen. I will see what you have to offer.
So
Till
you don't
then,
want what was that Christopher Nolan that was on Man of Steel?
as a producer, it was Snyder.
Zack Snyder, yeah, Zack Snyder and Nolan was on the producing team. So you don't want him back.
Snyder.
Yeah,
Um, honestly, no, and it's not for the reason because I think he's just like that terrible director. I just think Warner Brothers did him so bad
yeah, they
that
did.
why would you return to a company who treated you so terribly?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like no amount of money is going to possibly repair the pain it did to you, especially at the most vulnerable point in his life, where his
yeah,
daughter obviously sadly, committed suicide,
yeah,
and they proceeded to fire him
hmm,
and completely dismantle his vision
yeah, yeah,
because they had no faith in it. Like for that reason alone, I don't think he should ever like I personally don't want him to return. I don't like if he
hmm,
does, I'd watch the movie in support of him,
yeah,
but like don't return to no. And
yeah,
but then again, the leadership has changed, right? A lot of different
hmm,
people are on board now, so they'll probably try. Maybe at some point they'll make amends, but that name is still attached, right? It's Warner Bros.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it's not just one individual.
hmm,
It's an amalgamation of people who you made some very terrible decisions
yeah.
pertaining to Snyder and
And
just business ones too. It's
does Ray Fisher come back as Cyborg? Like
and eh, I,
that's
I
why
want him
everything
to.
that's
But at the same time, he dealt with so much, blatant racism
yeah,
and sort of him and the cast dealt with such a toxic work environment because of Josh Whedon,
mhm.
that I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't want to return.
I wouldn't be
I don't
surprised
blame
either.
him.
I wouldn't either.
You know,
But
um,
here's that's the thing though. Like, how do we explain
yeah, I know.
in the films? How do you explain the changes?
Yeah,
Because I don't want to see the switch between oh my god, what are the names? the guys that did the first two Hulk movies, Eric Bana and
Oh, like Edward Norton and
Edward Norton. Yeah,
Mark Ruffalo. Well, that's a really good point to bring up.
I
You
don't
know,
want to see that. I don't want to see that. That just like no, I'm saying before Mark Ruffalo though. Like it was Edward Norton, and then we went to Eric Bana. I think
to
that's how it
Mark
was.
Ruffalo, it was
To then Mark Ruffalo, yeah. But that was when the MCU just like
was kicking
restarted.
off, and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that just abrupt change and it's not explained and I don't want the comedic aspect of it, right? Just if we're gonna relaunch and just say, okay, we're moving forward with these guys as these characters and just whatever. I'm fine with that, but I don't want it to be just brushed off and not addressed.
Well, and you know what? Actually, let's speak to this point because I've kind of been a bit vague, purposely vague,
Mhm.
in saying that there are new people involved with DC, and to be more specific, director James Gunn and Peter Safran, um, are essentially going to be heads of DC Studios, of newly formed DC Studios, and so
Mhm.
they're going to be taking hold of their film, television, and animation departments. And so I think they're just going to be looking to tell, stories for every possible character in the DC universe, right? And
Mhm.
so do you
Mhm.
think that, for an actor like Ray Fisher, who obviously dealt with, so much blatant racism, who obviously was being scapegoated by Warner Bros,
Mhm.
whose story was trying to be swept under the rug on numerous occasions, right?
Right. Right.
Do you think that something like this where, now Warner Bros has changed their leadership, do you think it's more attractable, for somebody like Ray Fisher who was in that position, or do you think it's, nothing they do could possibly, you know, change change my mind?
Well, if I had to guess, I would assume he's not going to come back because of the fact that he he was made to look as if he was the problem.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know like who is responsible for that. I like if that person or persons if they're still there, no, I'm not coming back. Like if I'm Ray, I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
Like I don't care what you say.
Well, it's huge too because Walter Amanda, and he's been such a huge problem for DC in general. He's
Mhm.
gone. He's out.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think he was one of the major instigators. I think you have was it Jeff Johns
Hmm.
was another problem. I think he's still with DC. And then Joss Whedon, he's out of the gate. Fuck you,
Yeah,
Joss Whedon, by the way.
yeah,
Like literally,
yeah,
go
yeah,
fuck yourself,
yeah,
genuinely.
yeah.
But and then Watch Armada, fuck you too. You're a terrible human being, and you don't even deserve any hold of any property moving forward. But
Yeah,
um, I'm sure that's satisfying for Ray Fisher as well, and of course any other victims to them, because
yeah,
these are individuals who we're not only just from an entertainment standpoint, we're obviously ruining what could have been a very lucrative universe
yeah.
of storytelling,
Mm,
right? But then ethically, right? They were just treating their employees so badly
yeah,
and
yeah.
inhumanely.
Hmm.
So sorry, I know I'm kind of like
No, no,
I'm
no,
rambling, but
no. You're good.
it's tough to shake off. Like,
It
I can
is.
imagine what I think Fisher is both seeing with his recent social media postings too. Is like he's satisfied. It's like this
Mhm.
is the right way to go.
Yeah,
But I also think that no matter his passion for the character, it's not necessarily something that I imagine he won't be keen on returning to because of that experience.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And if he does return, then all the power to him, because I'm going to be there day one when that Cyborg series or movie comes out, or whatever movie he's in.
I would
You
love
know,
to see it. I would love to see it,
me
but
too.
yeah, I don't think we're gonna do it. We're gonna get it. But it'd be nice if we get a nice, finally get a nice Wonder Woman film. That'd be nice.
Yeah,
One I don't fall asleep on.
it's a very high expectation, my friend.
Yeah. Oh
That's
no, trust me. I have the lowest expectations for DC at this point. I have the lowest expectations for Warner Brothers.
yeah.
Um,
What was it?
so anything they do positively in any way, shape, or form is exceeding my expectations
Yeah,
at this
they finished the treatment too for Wonder Woman 3.
point. Okay, great.
Yeah, well, I'm not watching that.
Uh, yeah.
Is 84 really that bad though?
Oh, 84 is horrible.
Yeah,
It
I
is
saw.
absolute trash. And
Wasn't there?
I feel bad for Gal Gadot because she did a phenomenal job as a character in both films. But the movie, the writing, the direction, like none of it made sense for
Did
me.
wasn't there like a scene where it looked like she was running on the treadmill?
It looks like that a lot.
Yeah,
It looks like that a lot. Yeah,
not my movie, bro.
yeah. Don't watch it. Don't watch it. I
Damn.
wasted 2 hours of my life with that film,
Yeah.
hoping it would get better. That was 15 minutes in. I was just like, eh.
Well, speaking of things getting better, and this is the last bit of news, something I did not tell you or allude to just yet, but we did briefly speak about, the idea of separate universes, one of which being Matt Reeves. And obviously, there have been reports of numerous projects in development. And so the newly formed, it was meant to be a GCPD series, has been formed into an Arkham Asylum series, is going to be headed by Antonio Campos. And he directed the limited series, The Staircase.
Ooh.
He's going to be serving as a showrunner and director.
Okay, well, is- I have high hopes for the Matt Reeves universe. I have high hopes for that. So but adding him to that project is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. I'm
Well,
hoping we actually get to see Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze actually done properly if they are introduced in this at any time. I would hope that we get to see them done the right way.
Poison Ivy is a really, really interesting character.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
someone I Oh God. When was the last time we had? No, that's too
Gotham,
the only
Gotham,
live action version we okay. Oh, that's right.
Gotham. But that was a young
Oh,
version of
bro.
Poison Ivy, right?
I was saying too, I felt so bad for every Poison Ivy fan because I
Yeah,
forgot about that iteration. The
yeah.
only iteration that I know for a fact exists was the one in Batman and Robin, bro.
Uma Thurman.
With
Yeah,
Uma Thurman. And
yeah.
no disrespect to her at all.
No,
She's a phenomenal actress, but oh my god,
it
that
was trash.
writing and character, like I feel so bad for the way they portrayed her.
Yeah, I mean, but
And
that's everything. Was that Joel Schumacher that was directing that movie?
yeah, rest in peace, of course. But yeah, that was a terrible, awful movie. I'm sorry.
I mean, anytime you got Batman with nipples, bro. And and you know what? I shouldn't even say that because I didn't realize not George Clooney wasn't the only one that had nipples.
Robin did
Michael,
too.
no, Michael Keaton did. I think his Batman suit had nipples.
That's the reason why that suit looks the way it does. That's all I'll
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
That's the only
No,
words I
so
can use to describe it. Um,
yeah. So I mean, I hope that we with especially if it's discussing anything with Arkham Asylum, you've got to bring Poison Ivy into this, man. Like you have to. Like if we don't even get Mr. Freeze, give us Poison Ivy. I need to see her
my,
done the right way in a film.
okay, have you seen the show? I haven't seen it. It's a show called Treatment on HBO.
No, I've seen it on there, but I never checked it out. I don't even know what
So
it's about.
is that an anthology series?
I don't know what it's about. I don't know anything about it.
Okay, that's a
Yeah.
terrible comparison then because I have no idea what the show's about. I don't know why I said it.
Okay.
Um, because I just know that different actors come in. But
Hmm.
my idea for the show would be have it be an anthology
Hmm.
series, and
Hmm.
every episode focuses on a different villain.
Yeah, no, that's what makes sense. That's what
Have
makes sense. So that
their
at the
backstory.
end of the season,
Yep,
you can combine
and
and then sprout them out.
had the main protagonist be Hugo Strange.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the part of Gotham that we didn't get to fully explore,
Yeah,
right? Where Hugo Strange was the main villain. Like we didn't get to explore it. We saw it in certain episodes, but you didn't get to see that like fully
it's
done. So
sort of like
I would love to see that.
to sort of like hyper analyze these villains, sort of why they became the
Yes.
people they are.
Yeah.
We get a
Yeah.
chance to flesh out their backstories and everything. I think
Yeah.
that, for me anyway, I think that'd be really cool.
No, that'd be amazing.
Or even see the return of the Riddler, right? See,
Oh,
how
we
he's
gotta
dealing
see
with
him
the
done.
aftermath of.
We gotta see him done.
Excuse me.
Well, Gotham did him perfectly. Like they got him down. I loved his version. I love that version of the Riddler. But cinematically, Jim Carrey is the only Riddler that we know, and I love Jim Carrey.
Paul Dano.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh
I'm
my
talking about
god! I
Paul
forgot
Dano.
about. Oh my god!
Yeah.
How did I forget that he was?
No, you're all good.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Scratch that. If we could actually see more of that, I would love to see that.
See like the
I would love to
aftermath.
see
See
that.
all he's in with
Wait,
the aftermath of the Batman and yeah.
yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot all about that. But I would love to see him in an actual suit, like his Riddler suit. I would love to see that.
Yeah, I think him is wearing a suit. I think what I love too is that it's I feel like Riddler's gonna play a huge role in that universe for whatever reason. And I really think it's gonna boil down to him like developing this major like this obsessiveness of wanting to defeat Batman because he's arguably
Mhm.
one of like Batman's greatest foes,
Well,
um,
when you're talking about someone
mentally
that's
speaking.
a brainiac,
Yeah,
so to speak, he's definitely on that level with Batman for sure. So I mean, it makes sense to
yeah,
have him on there throughout their
that'd
periodically.
be an awesome evolution.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It'd be really cool. But that's sort of
yeah.
my idea. Have Hugo Strange sort of be interviewing these villains because it's the Arkham Asylum series, so I mean unless you're
Mhm.
gonna have Batman being in it, and him like Arkham Asylum is shut down, all the villains are so literally you just
Yeah,
take the plot of the video game and then put it into live action. I don't think they're
yeah,
gonna do that. I think it'd be a really nice like exploration of villainy, sort
mhm,
of why these people became the way they were,
yeah,
why are their motivations, why did they develop such motivations, how are they dealing with the ramifications of dealing with a man in a man in a bat suit, right?
mhm,
And then
mhm.
for all intents and purposes, had the last episode be about Joker, and then ended off with him potentially escaping asylum or possibly setting up a sequel or where they confront each other.
I do not like
Um,
the way that Joker looks, man. I know
I
that's him without his all his makeup and everything, but I do not like the way he looks
I personally wait talking about
at the end of the
the
Batman.
deleted scene,
Yeah,
the deleted scene you're talking
yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The deleted one. That was yeah. That
Oh, I thought you looked awesome. That was an amazing design. I think they should have committed to it because the reason why I prefer that scene. The problem
mhm.
is it pretty much spoils the ending of the movie.
It
So I
does.
understood
It
why they
does.
literally
Yeah,
revealed why the Riddler literally was who he was, right?
yeah,
So I understand why they took it out, but the scene they gave us was so bad. It was really bad. I think that's literally the one part of the movie I think is bad
yeah, yeah,
because you
yeah,
could tell
yeah.
Barry was like trying to force it. Like I feel like that was like a reshoot or something. I feel
Mhm,
like they had to get him in that last minute. They probably only had like one or two takes,
mhm,
and I feel like he was really like forcing to laugh.
mhm.
And I also hate too because like now because they don't have to commit to a design, they can do whatever they want now.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
hopefully the
yeah.
Warner Bros. Hey, you want to do something good, Warner Bros. In my opinion, you stick with it, or maybe change it up a bit. It's
I need to see a little more of him because he looked like he was like mangled up a little bit. Like
oh yeah, like is
that's
yeah.
that's what I'm talking
Almost like he
about.
had acid sort of sprayed
Yeah,
out, which I like actually. I think it's
which
pretty cool.
I mean, if you're gonna go with the whole story of him going into the acid vat
Yeah.
and that was what changed altered his looks, then okay, that's fine. But it's because that's not explained right now. Like this, I'm just looking at this and just like
Then again, it was also kind of
I
hard to
don't
piece
know.
together what he looked like. I know
Yeah,
there's like an image that had like three shots composed together, and you
yeah,
sort of you could make out his full face.
yeah.
Because the scene was shot in a way where it was just showing like features on his
Little
face. It wasn't
pieces.
like
Yeah,
little piece.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
that's probably why too, because just like just you're in the back of mind like just show the fucking face. Like I don't know why
Yes,
you're cutting
yes,
away every single 15 seconds, which is understandable.
yes. Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah, man.
yeah, I feel
Yeah,
you there.
that's my only thing. But yeah, DC's got a long way to go to actually gain my trust again. They lost my trust after well, shoot, when Justice League came out. They lost my trust back then. So they entirely lost it at that point. Like I was already on the edge, but they lost it completely at that point. So
Yeah, disrespectful. But
Between that and Suicide Squad, I was just done. And then you give me, Birds of Prey.
yeah, I don't know
Nah,
why people think
nah,
that's a good.
nah, that was trash.
Well, I don't want to say it.
It was trash. I
Not
fell
trying,
asleep in
not
the
trying to,
theaters, bro.
yeah, not trying to be rude, but I don't understand why like people are like, for the people out there who are fans of the movie, really I think it's really bad, but um I don't know, maybe that's just me. I don't know. It's one of those movies where I can't like describe why I dislike it. It's just like
Mm,
I don't know. I don't know. It was just
I will be here for another 10, 15 minutes if I told
yeah,
you
trying
how
to
I felt
unravel
about
our
it.
thoughts, but
Yeah.
uh
Yeah, man. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a quick break, and then we'll be right back with our feature presentation discussion of House of the Dragon. We'll be right back.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Dwayne from Past the Ox and Life's a Botch podcast. I'm coming to you with a real dope advertisement if you got a moment. Can we do that? Peep this. Yo, you tired of that uncomfortable feeling with your undergarments? You know what I'm talking about. Like, literally having to adjust so it gets real comfortable in between the real safe space. Or maybe just wedgies from just going underneath, you know what I mean? All that. Let's keep it in 100. Y'all know how I'm feeling. Y'all know how that feeling goes. Well, I want to introduce to you the ultimate solution coming from the #1 premium and fit athletic wear just for you. I'm talking about none other than Champ #1 Boxers. Champ #1 Boxers is a black-owned underwear brand, okay? They literally specify in giving you the most top-notch, high-quality, premium, adjustable and fittable and totally comfortable undergarment wear that is just for you. Not only is it something that you can wear, feel good in, feel confident in, and love, but it's also high quality, feels good, and most importantly, it is definitely fashionable, okay? Comes in a different, wide variety of so many different styles and themes to these undergarments, something to make you look good, feel good, and swag real good in the process, all right? So, again, did I get to mention that this is also a black-owned brand? It's a black-owned brand, y'all, so if nothing else, definitely go support that 100%. So, what I want to do is I want to tell you, head on over to OTS Media Co. on all social platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. If you go over, you click the link in the bios, it'll take you straight to the Champ #1 Boxers website. You can check out all their styles, you can check out their bundle deals, you can check out why this brand exists, what it's all about, and trust me when I say you do not want to miss out on the types of opportunities going on right now on the site. Champ #1 Boxers. Make sure you do it for the champ in your life if you ain't already doing it for yourself, champ. All right? Champ #1 Boxers. Make sure you go cop those. All right? All right.
hey guys, we are here to go ahead and jumpstart our discussion on House of the Dragon, set in the Game of Thrones universe, and it is about an internal succession war within House Targaryen at the height of its power, 172 years before the birth of Daenerys Targaryen, and that is from Wikipedia, I believe. And yeah, I'm just gonna go without saying that I had zero expectations going into the show. I don't consider myself a Game of Thrones fanatic, nor was I a huge fan of the show. But I can say in full confidence that House of the Dragon is by far some of the best television I have seen in quite a long while. And I think it is due for every bit of praise that it is getting or shall receive by anyone who should definitely watch it in the near
Yeah,
future.
yeah.
And I really don't think our discussion can do this show justice. And yeah, so what are your thoughts? Because you're a Game of Thrones fan, right? So you were kind of,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah. Where did I know you were watching Game of Thrones? Where did you leave off? What
season
season?
4. I stopped.
Okay,
I'm not
okay,
watching anymore.
okay. All right. So and it took me maybe 3 episodes into this series before I could confidently say that I felt this way. Um, but and I know someone actually told me I was being premature with this. I am perfectly fine with that. I don't usually do this. I don't want to be the guy to say, "Oh, I'm first to say this," but personally, I believe if they stay on this track, I believe House of the Dragon is already better than Game of Thrones.
I agree.
If they stay on this track, it's going to definitively be better than than Game of Thrones.
Yep.
And it took me a second because there was rumors that came out. I think probably 3 weeks into the season being out, that there was going to be a time jump in this season, and I was kind of prepared for it. Heading into, if I'm not mistaken, I believe episode 4 is when they jumped it to introduce.
Actually, it was literally 1 to 2 was a time jump, 2 to 3 was a time jump, 3 to 4 was a time jump. It was really a time jump up until episode 9. Episode 9 and episode 10 are the only episodes that do not that are, or I think 8, 9, and 10, if I'm not mistaken,
Mhm.
are all episodes that take place in the same year. To
Right.
that
So
point, they were just time jump after time jump after time jump.
I mean, like the actual time jump where Princess Reina and Alicent were different people.
Yeah.
That time jump was what because I realized
Oh,
after like the second episode, I was like, oh, okay, this is what they're gonna do, like periodically jump a couple
Gotcha. I
years or
didn't know.
whatever.
Okay, yeah. I
I was
didn't
like,
know.
all right, that's fine. But the time jump to where it was like a whole new cast, you're looking at the show, you're like, who is that? Like, I was actually prepared for that because that jumped, like that got spoiled, that there was gonna be like a whole, like these characters, like I don't even know how many years it was, like maybe 6 or 7 years advanced or something like that. Um Maybe even 10, something like that. But I actually appreciated that pacing a lot more after, like, maybe about like 5 episode 5, where I was like, I can actually get with this because is excuse me, we're not taking for like 3 seasons to get to where we are at the end of this last season. I mean, at the end of the season, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like we're sitting here waiting forever to get there. And I kind of feel like jumping it up like that. I can't remember a show ever doing that. Can you recall a show doing something like that?
Uh, a Better Call Saul did. This
Okay, so I didn't watch Better
did
Call Saul. So.
in season 6 they make a very, well, from what I saw, I haven't watched the final season yet, but they make a very like devastating time jump.
Okay.
But
Okay.
that's like the only example I can think of. I can't really think of a show that very ambitiously, right? I
Yeah,
mean, nearly every episode in the show,
is a
time
jump.
jump after time jump. And for me, that's probably where one of my slight criticisms comes in, because
Mhm.
while I do understand that tech, technically speaking, you can probably have the show go on for 10 plus seasons explaining what happens, but I think it's more compelling for us as audience members to interpret what has happened within those years.
Mm.
And I think that it was, they were very effective
They were.
for the
They
most
were.
part. I think it was a bit jarring to see sort of like different cast members. I think let me start off by saying, I think young Rhaenyra and the older Rhaenyra are on the same level. I think none are better than the other because they're arguably different characters.
Yes, they
And
are. But
so
they do a great job of storytelling though. Like,
yeah,
it's I found that intriguing. Like, going from this time jump to where she's a young woman to being a grown woman, right? Like that, for both characters, it was like, oh my god, like they didn't skip a beat. Like, it was right on par with how they were when they were younger, and
yeah,
I actually appreciated that uh for the continuity of the storytelling. Like, it felt like, you know what, watching this season, and I haven't read any of his books, but it felt like you were reading this as a book.
yeah, most definitely.
It felt that like it was as seamless and perfect as reading the story would be. And it almost makes me want to go read them, but I already know those books are. I'm not getting into that. I don't want to do
Yeah,
that because
yeah.
it's gonna take
I
forever to get through them. But I enjoyed it.
yeah, I think obviously we can go into a lot of plot details. I frankly don't want to do that because it'd probably
Yeah,
take us another hour.
yeah,
What
yeah,
I will say is I think what the show does so well, and please watch it. So in case you don't know
yeah,
or don't realize, please watch. But
yeah.
wh- I think this show is far more emotionally complex than Game of Thrones, and I say that because
Mhm.
I think what House of Dragon benefits from is that it's one concentrated story.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you look at Game of Thrones, and I just said at the beginning of the podcast, I'm
Mhm.
gonna curse a bit, excuse my language, but there are a lot of times in Game of Thrones where they very literally had like 5 to 6 concurrent storylines, and it was so fucking difficult to understand, like to
Yes,
literally keep up with what they were doing. What
yes.
this show does so well is that y- y- everything feels connected. You know what I mean? e- every character feels fleshed out and they have their own personalities, they have their own motivations. And
Mhm,
so when you have excellent writing
mhm,
and you have amazing performances, two of which I'm going to be praising probably for 2 to 4 minutes straight, right?
mhm.
You know, you have quality television, you
Right,
know,
right.
there's really nothing else I can say about the show other than that I think the show excels on nearly every level.
Yeah.
And, you know, when a huge bulk of the show is literally just dispositions between characters, it's
Mhm.
very hard to make that compelling
Yeah,
because it's all
yeah.
these members, and especially, perhaps if you're aware of Game of Thrones, right? A lot of the episodes, I mean, a lot of Game of Thrones wasn't really action oriented, but I feel
Mhm,
like sequences, like, action sequences, so to speak, were common for the most part. This
mhm,
show doesn't have many, right? And
mhm,
if you're going into this show sort of expecting there to be like dragons, like destroying civilizations and
mhm.
huge wars being fought every episode, you're going disappointed. But what you do see is just like how they really make some of the central conflicts, especially with Rhaenyra and Allison, so engaging to watch.
Yeah,
And that's the
yeah,
biggest compliment I can give to the show.
yeah.
Like the shows that where it's still dialogue heavy to a point where you still feel tense, you still
Yes.
feel anger,
Yeah.
and sadness at times too. It's remarkable, really is.
Yeah. I mean, and to your point, like the aspect of Game of Thrones getting to the point where they were telling so many stories. By the end of the series, they did not address a lot of stories that were in like season 7. Like it's I'm sorry, season 5, I believe. I think that was the season where the man with no name was introduced, and like we don't know anything about like how all that ended, right? It was just like moving along, and their pacing was so sporadic. It was very jarring that I couldn't like I couldn't even remember. And I was watching the series, like I caught up on Game of Thrones. I think I started watching it when season 3 came out. Season 3 or season 4 came out was when I started watching Game of Thrones. So I'm watching these episodes back to back to back, and I'm just like, hmm, well, okay, like the first few seasons I loved, but as soon as I got to that part, I think it was season 5 where it was just kind of like,
Where are you going with this? Like, do you really have a lot of like? Are you really
yeah,
gonna get this done in time?
yeah,
You know?
and that rushing aspect that I think Game of Thrones suffered from is what I don't think we're gonna see with House of the Dragon. I mean, I think it's expected that House of the Dragon is going to have about 4 seasons, 4 or 5 seasons.
Yeah.
And if they do that, if they do that and keep along this pace where it's just like, okay, we're telling this story and we're keeping with this pace, and they keep up with that, I don't know how House of the Dragon cannot be considered better than Game of Thrones,
I
especially when you got Game of Thrones spin-offs coming out.
It's in my opinion, it's better than season 1 of Game of Thrones. I think
I think
because
so too.
I think
I actually think so.
the pilot right out of the gate was literally told us everything we needed to know.
Yes.
Game of Thrones had a great opening scene,
Oh, phenomenal.
but those Nightwalkers, like like I don't give a fuck about them. Like they're not intimidating to me, bro.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
I've seen scenes of them like transforming out of thin air and like
Hmm.
making people like turn into zombies. It was like these are the people you're all worked up about. Like they literally get like killed by stone, and then Arya,
Yeah.
kills the Night Walker, which was actually really stupid because it wasn't John when they said John to be the one to kill him, and then they went against it. But all
Bro,
that, yeah. Anyways,
like that
yeah,
that was a whole thing about it, right? Like it was
yeah,
the last season, especially the last episode of the last season, was so anticlimactic.
yeah,
It was so horrible. And I believe her name is Macy Williams. But yeah, Macy Williams, the lady that plays Arya.
yeah,
She said she would come back, but it's gotta make sense, right? Like she said on, I think on she was on her brother's Twitch stream within the last day or two, and said that last season was horrible. Like she said, let me get the right. She said it definitely fell off at the end. Like it has so much momentum coming in from the
and
first few seasons to where
yeah,
it's just like
she probably has to be
this is
careful.
where
Yeah, she probably has to be careful too because for all we know there could be like an Arya spinoff, and she can't really like. Yeah, it kind of fell off a bit, but it was. I think I really had a good time with my cast and crew.
we
The
need to see her in the Jon Snow. Like she has to be in that series. She has to be in that series. And I'm hoping that with that series, they do what House of the Dragon is doing. I don't want them to take after Game of Thrones. I want them to take after House of the Dragon because if they replicate what they're doing with House of the Dragon on that series, Jon Snow will be the guy that we expected him to be at the end of that series of Game
yeah,
of Thrones, right? And I don't want to see I don't want to see them fall off, right? I want to see them get better. And I want to see the
yeah,
show be
and
what it's supposed to be,
they also have no source material too for the Jon Snow series. House of the Dragon does, and
right?
they're making some some changes. And actually, it's something I do want to address are in the finale, a great finale by the way.
Oh my god.
Um, they made two changes, and that was Damon never laid his hands on Rhaenyra, and Aemon purposely killed Luke in the books. So
Okay, okay, so you're talking from the books to the show.
from the
Okay,
books to the show,
okay,
okay.
okay.
Number one, anyone who tries to argue that Damon laying his hands on Rhaenyra is a quote unquote character assassination is
That's the argument
utterly
being made.
that's an argument being made is utterly baffling to me because this is a man who killed his first wife.
Yeah,
This is a man who neglected his second wife
yeah,
and his children. This is a man
yeah,
who literally sliced the head off his brother's cousin's. Wait, hold on.
yeah. The
I had to think about
lineage is
it.
so
His
weird.
brother's cousin's husband's brother
Yes,
head off
yes.
in the in the middle of the throne room.
Hmm.
This is a man who excuse the word I have to use here, but this is a man who molested
Yeah,
a 15-year-old.
yeah.
And you're telling me right now that him putting his hand around Rhaenyra, choking her out of frustration in the midst of grieving the death of his brother who he loved, someone who is so self-obsessed with war and
Hmm.
conflict
Hmm.
and is overly impulsive that he very rarely has rational thoughts.
Yeah,
You think that's character assassination? No,
that I find that very interesting that people say that.
I can't agree with that. Not with everything being set up.
No, no.
Rhaenyra and Damon are not a perfect love story.
No,
They were never meant to be,
that's her
and they
uncle.
shouldn't be. Exactly. And it's like, you have to consider too, Damon's I think loves Rhaenyra, but also has a bit of sort of resentment towards her, because I
Yeah.
think deep down he wanted to be heir to the Iron Throne, which
Well,
is
he
something he wasn't
was.
afforded, and he was until the change occurred in episode 2, right?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
well, episode 1, but sorry, but
Yeah. No, I mean he was heir to the throne, and she was given that that birthright. That I mean, you can only blame him for that happening, right? Like if he was more controlled and was more sound mentally, I'm pretty sure that wouldn't have taken place um, until he had a son.
yeah,
But I mean, there's so many layers to this series that I mean
yeah.
we don't have time to go through. But what were your who was like maybe like your favorite character?
King Viserys. Patty Constantine was fucking awesome in this show, bro.
Amazing.
Dude, that last episode was literally some of the best acting I have ever seen before. I have never seen I mean this like kindly as possible. I've never seen someone look like they were dying before.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, just his grunts, his mannerisms, his
yeah.
posture, his line delivery
Mhm.
was done to perfection. And his character, who said one of my favorite lines in the movie, sorry, in the show was, controlling dragons is an illusion. And I
Mhm.
love how that really came into play in the final episode where, Aemon's dragon disobeyed him
Yeah.
and obviously killed Luke and preemptively started the war between the High Towers and the Targaryens. So
Mhm.
it's yeah, he was just an incredible character, and like I said, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time to dissect him, but he was Patty Constantine deserves an Emmy, no
Yeah.
doubt in my mind,
He
because
did a phenomenal job.
he was amazing. He was
Phenomenal job.
amazing.
I didn't like the makeup so much for how they aged him, because I could tell the prosthetics a little bit. I think they could have done a little more to hide certain elements of that to make it a little more natural. But
Sure.
he his deliverance of the character um was beyond phenomenal. He played a dying man very well. And to think that his his illness was taking on because he was sitting on the Iron Throne and got cut so many times.
No, actually it wasn't that. I think so I thought that too. I think that was just like an excuse. I think I forgot what my buddy told me because he's a huge fan of the show.
Mhm.
He suffers from like, oh my gosh, sorry, give me like one. I just want to hold on just 1 second. Is it
Because I was thinking like he had got gangrene or something. Like he was
tetanus?
withering. Tetanus.
I think it was tetanus
Tetanus. Oh, tetanus.
or
Okay.
lockjaw, also called
Oh,
lockjaw.
oh. Okay.
So that was just
Okay.
spraying neuro. I think that's what it was, and that's why
Okay.
you saw. I originally thought it was cancerous, but no, it was yeah, causes painful muscle. Yeah, it was tetanus. I'm pretty sure my friend told me. I could be wrong about
That's
that,
phenomenal then. I mean,
but
because like I mean his eye was gone. You're seeing inside his skull. His cheek was withered away. Like you're seeing inside his mouth while he's talking. Like it's different elements. Like he played the character extremely well. Um um but actually found myself trying to figure out who I actually liked the most, and I couldn't figure out who. I honestly couldn't tell you who I liked more than the other, because it seemed like everybody was just on this even playing field, because the pacing of the show was so done it was done so well. Everybody got the amount of time that they needed on screen, right? I mean, even George R. R. Martin said that Patty Considine, not sure you pronounce that last name, Considine, but he said that he played a better Viserys than he wrote.
yeah,
Like that's how that is a phenomenal compliment to give, that someone did a better job portraying the character than the character you created, right? So I feel like everybody, and I have not read the books, but I felt like, or it seemed as if everybody did that in their role. And for everyone to come together and do something like that, you hated the people that you needed to hate. You love the guys that you needed to love. And you wanted to see triumph in different areas for different characters. And I mean, the last episode, seeing Luke fly, like trying to get away, and I mean, he lost control of his dragon first,
Yeah.
right? So his dragon going and trying to attack what's his name? What's his name?
Dragon's Age. I couldn't tell you.
Aemon. I'm sorry. He tried
Oh,
attack Aemon's dragon though. I don't know what Aemon's dragon's name is, but for him to attack that dragon first, and then that one came right back.
just
Like
snatch him. Yeah.
no one could control the dragon. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
it really enforces what Valeria said, and
It really did.
I do apologize. I know I was kind of looking down for a minute there. I was trying to
No, you're good.
find there's an improvised one. I wanted to show you like this is still of it because it's
Mhm.
just it's powerful. But you remember the moment when Viserys is walking by himself to the Iron Throne in episode
Yeah,
8,
yeah, yeah,
and his crown drops.
yeah.
That was improvised. His crown wasn't meant to drop,
Oh, was
and
it?
Matt Smith carried on with it and put the crown on top of him.
That was done so
Yeah,
well. That was done so well, and they shot it perfectly, like
yeah,
that was
yeah,
planned.
yeah, yeah,
That was
exactly.
phenomenal.
I
I
think
mean,
probably, yeah, yeah.
Damon, I'm not sure um if you got this, but Damon actually kind of reminded me of oh my god, now I'm losing track of everybody. He reminded me of Tyrion a little bit.
Oh, in terms of like his straightforwardness and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Matt
a
Smith
little
was also fantastic.
phenomenal.
I don't
But
understand how you go from Morbius to
yeah, yeah,
to Batman.
yeah. But it's like you're supposed to hate this guy, right? But you find redeeming qualities in him. It's just like,
Wants to
mm,
honor his house, and but then he also
yeah,
goes on to kill his wife and neglect his
yeah,
second wife, causing her to commit suicide. And
yeah.
chokes Rhaenyra. Is like, oh, okay,
There's
yeah,
so many things in this that I wonder where we're, because one of the I think it was toward the end of the episode, but you see him going into this corridor where he's singing, and I didn't realize what was going on at first, but he's singing, and all of a sudden the dragon comes out of the,
yeah,
the dark, and like I that's the part I'm still trying to figure out, like what is going on there, because I don't know which dragon that is. Because at first I thought it was a dragon that Aemon was on, because that was a huge dragon. Like as soon as he starts singing, and then the dragon starts spitting fire out, and you're seeing this interaction with this beast, right? I at first thought it was that dragon, but that's not the same dragon that that he was singing to, obviously. So I like that part of it. That's the only thing that didn't get fully addressed. What I'm assuming is going to be addressed in the next season.
yeah. I think that was like one of the other dragons that David
That
was
was
alluding
unclaimed.
to. So
Yeah, yeah,
oh my gosh, I expect next season to be it's gonna be the Dance of the Dragon. So it's basically the huge war, and
yes.
yeah, I'm excited, bro. I
It's gonna be a
mean,
bloody episode. That's gonna be a bloody season. Like
oh
this
my
season
god,
was a bloodbath. Next season is going to be
yeah. The last thing I do want to end off with is the last line Viserys said. He's my love.
yeah.
That was improvised.
Was it,
Yeah.
man?
That's why Patty Constantine deserves that Emmy, because
Hey, man.
he said to the writer, she was like, he's like, I think either he said it because it wasn't scripted, or maybe he came up with the idea on the fly. He was like, I really feel like those would be his last words.
Yeah.
You know, the idea that he has a chance to reunite with his wife.
He embodied. I mean, oh my god, oh my god, the scene with his wife giving birth, and then they ended up.
And yeah, and then he was like, "It's okay, it's okay." He's like, they're gonna get the baby," and he's like, you know, that was
Bro, I
great acting. Um,
that was phenomenal acting, but I ain't gonna lie, man.
it's kind of, it had to turn your head. Yeah,
That one almost
I
got me.
I will say though, I think a valid criticism is perhaps they're glorifying wound violence a bit too much. I think maybe they could have done away with what they were showing at times.
Mhm.
This is sort of like I think we understand
Nitpicking.
what you're trying to show. Like, to
Yeah,
temper down a bit.
yeah.
I have seen that complaint going around. That's totally understandable because that first scene was rough. It was
Well, see,
like, I'm not someone. Yeah,
that's also Game of Thrones, bro. That's his signature. So like at the same time, like as excuse me, as violent as it is or graphic as it is,
yeah.
I'm okay with it because that's what we've known from Game of Thrones, right? So
Done with a purpose too. They're not looking
yeah,
to, you know,
because I mean,
have any ill intent. Yeah,
Damon splitting dude's head off like and in half, right? Like, I
oh
mean,
my god.
he went across his face with
And
the blade.
even what he said too, he was like, I had to laugh, bro. His line before he did it, he was like, "Say it."
Yes, yeah,
He's like, "Come on, come
yeah,
on."
yeah, because he
And he's
has
like, "Let
this
me." I was like,
insatiable taste for blood that
"Yeah,
I believe is going to end up being his demise at some point in this series, which some people have already pieced together certain things that have taken place with Game of Thrones that have kind of. So I like I'm like
well,
I'm not looking to it because I really don't want to see it, but I've kind of seen already some stuff already. I'm like,
well. Do you want to know how he dies
no, I don't.
in the books, or do
No,
you
I
want
don't.
to go in blind?" Okay,
I want to be blind with this series
let.
because this is a lot that, and that's another thing with like source material versus films and television is, how do
Excuse
you
me.
stay true to the source material and also make it to where it's a brand new experience to those that are already, you know that already know what's supposed to take place.
Yeah, I
you
think.
know
Yeah, yeah. I think what I will say is, the fate that's in store for him is pretty much what you would expect. That's all I'll say.
Okay. Okay.
I'll
Well,
leave it like that.
I'm excited, man, because
Yeah.
this series again, like I said at the beginning, I believe is already better than Game of Thrones. I don't see how you can say otherwise. And that's like all the seasons of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I
This is
think,
already better than that.
and honestly, minus some poor looking visual effects at times, I think the green screen in a lot of
The
scenes
green screen got it.
was very noticeable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe the sort of the time zones were a bit jarring at times. Sometimes it was like,
Yeah.
oh wow, like the actresses look somewhat similar, but at the same time they're not similar. But then you could chalk it up to them being like technically different characters, even though they're the same one.
Yeah.
That probably
Yeah.
made no sense, but I think you know where I'm
No,
getting at.
it does make sense
Um,
because they're playing two different aspects of this character's life.
yeah, exactly.
So they're different people.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So
So
yeah, I get it.
there's small criticisms like that, but I think it's not a five. I can't. No, I can't give it a five. I can't give it a
Okay.
five. I
Okay.
have to give it. Hmm, I'll give it a four and a. I'll give it a four and a half.
Okay.
I'll give it
Okay.
a four and a half. I was gonna give it a four because I think the visuals, like the green screen, would.
With the finger and everything.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, because I think with his eye being gone, I'm not sure if anybody else saw this, but I saw his eyeball where there was supposed to be no eyeball,
Oh, I didn't even notice that. I
and I'm not even sure if I'm not sure if I was just seeing things or not because I paused it and everything. I'm like,
thought.
that's an eyeball right there. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
So
certain things that they missed on it for sure
yeah,
visually.
I think four to four and a half around there. Is it four and a half? I'll do four. I'll do four at minimum, four and a half at best. So
Okay.
either or. Fantastic show. It's literally among the best I've seen. So
Most definitely. I give it a 5, man. I mean, even with the visual effects issues, those small things, which I think you make sure next season you clean it up so you don't have to go and redo, right? Um, but it's perfect. I like. There's nothing about the series that I would change.
yeah, I mean,
There's nothing different I would change. I mean,
they did what they needed to, and now
yeah,
we're entering the next phase of of the story, and I'm
yeah.
looking forward to seeing what they do.
Yeah, man, this is gonna be a great show, great series, in general. But I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I think we're not going to see the new season until like 2024,
Yeah, it's fucked up, but
which sucks. But hey, you know what? Take your time because we've seen Game of Thrones get rushed. Take your time.
yeah,
I will rewatch House of the Dragon to
they what
satiate.
they're gonna show entire episodes on green screen.
Yeah. Yeah, please take your time.
You
I'll be
told us you
good.
wanted you told us you wanted it.
Yeah.
Now you're mad. Yeah, no.
Yeah, man. But hey, I think that's about it, man. We came back with a bang. Um and I think that you know, we're gonna for everyone out there watching or listening, we're probably gonna do like a every other week type of schedule for now. So this will come out, and then you know, you won't see us next week. You'll see us the following week. So you know, just be on the lookout for that. And pay attention to that. But yeah, Matt, go ahead and give them your social media, bro. We'll get on up out of here.
Yeah, it's gonna be Matt underscore T29 over on Instagram. If you ever have inquiries about joining one of the many podcasts we have over here on the OTS platform, feel free to let me know. Derrick is also gonna give his socials as well in case you're interested. And yeah, so thank you so much for watching. We're glad to be back. Thank you for your understanding and your patience. And yeah, we're looking forward to you know doing what we do over here on Realist. So
Yeah, bigger and better. Yes, sir. Yeah, you can follow me at Derrick underscore OTS. That's DERRICK, the black way to spell it. But more so importantly, please follow the OTS brand on all social media platforms. OTS Media Co. Everywhere where you go. Outside of YouTube, YouTube is OTS Media. You can like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Please go to the website, check out some of the stuff we got on the website. We have not posted a new article in probably a year at this point, but you know, go ahead, check out all the stuff on there. I'm going to be updating that pretty soon. You will be seeing some new graphics and stuff like that pretty soon. Overall with OTS, because we're undergoing a transitional phase for the brand in general. So we're gonna get bigger and better. So as the brand grows, so will the shows. So please be on the lookout. And we thank you guys for watching and or listening. And we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
peace.